Well, with us now for more is Research Manager of Philstocks Financial, Japhet Tantiango. Well, it's good to have you with us, Japhet. Welcome back to the program.
Hi, good morning, Ma'am Kathy. Thank you very much for inviting me.
All right, so what do you make of the peso's recovery there, 4 centavos at the open?
Well, I believe the recovery today is just a little bit more of, a little bit of bargain hunting with respect to the local currency. However, if you're going to look at its trend, the peso is really still on a depreciating trend.
It is. Any indication of BSP intervention in a big way?
Well, as far as we can see right now, we will not be having any forceful BSP intervention. I mean, they've already mentioned it, repetitively that they will not forcefully intervene in the local currency, in the foreign exchange market. That they will let the market continue determining the value of the peso against the dollar. Perhaps the BSP is going to look into it, it's going to look into it more moving forward. If the peso is already, a threat enough with respect to our inflation, then that would be the time that the BSP will intervene.
When you say looking into it more, what would that mean for implications on the easing policy? Because that's coming on February 19th.
Yes. With respect to the policy easing of, or with respect to the policy direction of the BSP, of course, its primary mandate is still inflation. Second would be growth. Now, what's happening with the local currency, it's more connected with inflation right now. But so far, inflation, if you're going to look at the general picture, inflation is still well controlled. And at the same time, we still have this, slow growth outlook. And so since inflation is not yet much of a threat, despite the decline of the peso, there's still the possibility that the BSP will ease policy rates.
By how much?
Well, as the BSP mentioned, we're already nearing the end of the policy easing cycle. I believe the BSP won't take an aggressive step. It's gonna be more of like a 25 basis points rate cut.
Okay, but what would that mean for OFW remittances? Because if there's one stakeholder that's benefiting from a peso's fall, it is our OFWs. But November remittances fell to a 6-month low ahead of Christmas.
Well, with respect to OFW remittances, I believe we will see a rebound moving forward, especially for the month of December, since it's the Christmas season. During Christmas, OFWs, they send a lot to their families, so that they can spend more during the holidays. And moving forward, if the BSP will ease policies further, of course, this would mean depreciation pressure for the local currency, which is positive for OFWs. I mean, if the local currency depreciates more, then the currency exchange will be in favor of what the OFWs will send home, and of course, this would mean more consumption power for the families that they're sending money.
Just as a final point, is it correct to say that this is just a strong dollar story?
Well, it's one, but we cannot attribute it completely to a strong dollar. There are still some factors which tells us that it's also a weak peso. I mean, number one, we are seeing, the possibility of a further interest rate differential between the BSP and the Federal Reserve. I mean, the BSP might still cut rates in February, whereas the Federal Reserve might already halt in terms of its policy easing. Number two, of course, there's still the expectation of of a persistent balance of payment deficit this year. This is as number one. We might not experience that much strong investment flows from offshore, given dented confidence amidst the corruption issues here in the country. And number two, we're still, expected to import strongly amid, heavy dependence offshore with respect to agricultural commodities and other capital goods. So there's strong importation expected. There's weak investment inflows expected, which is, in turn, leading to expectations of of a persistent balance of payment deficit, which in turn is weighing on our local currency.
Got that. A lot of domino effect there and headwinds. But thank you so much for the context, Japhet Tantiangco, the research manager at Philstocks Financial.